Having analyzed the pre-scene, now we are going to look at the mock paper, and I'm sure you have already gone through that, but my duty here, as I said earlier, is to give you the confidence that build your own answers, how to write the answer, art of writing the answer. And also, if you remember, while reading the pre-scene, we did in this sticky note, we made all the notes that these are the questions that is going to come essentially based on the pre-scene. I am sure what is written in this sticky note is going to extensively help you to build the answer. And now maybe we have to add, I don't know whether we can use another color in the sticky note, but we should now add points that connects to the unseen, right? So now some of this information in the pre-scene analysis, now we can find new information which feeds into this, right? That's very, very important, and that I'm going to do. And so what we do during next 10 minutes, even the exam, right? My advice to you, this is a very challenging paper, right? And now you need to really think. If you ask me personally as a lecturer, right, when you face this paper, I can advise you, maybe at the end we will talk few words. Now while you may be, so main advice for the exam is be confident, right? So anyway I'll talk maybe at the end advice, giving some tips for the exam, but especially here when you look at this entire paper, you may have a question, which question should I start with? Usually my recommendation to students being that you have studied the pre-scene and there is 50 marks question, right? There where you need to really concentrate and do it, and you already know some of the answers. Maybe a good place to start with that, and then after 1 hour you are really confident that you have completed up to 50%, and now you have time to really get into, because other questions are mini questions. You can anyway quickly read and answer. So anyway, based on the style, how your preference, that's one way of thinking. We can also argue and say another way of thinking, but this also looks more logical, right, in an exam context. Now let us look at the question that I will run through this entire paper to see how governance, risk and audit part, governance ethics and risk of misstatements are reflected. And also then we will, as the first point, we will, as I suggested, we will start with 50 marks question and complete, and then we can come in the second part to look at other questions, right? Okay, question 1. At a glance, when you run through the paper during 10-15 minutes in the exam, there is question number 1 that has all this question carries about 25 marks, right? 25 marks. Okay, now in this 25 marks, what questions are connecting to this area that I discuss with you, right, in this video as well as in your syllabus? The first question, if you look at, that's about evaluate the current accounting treatment. Your answer should reflect requirements of SL1. These are totally from standards. And then see COVID-19, I mentioned to you. See, this estimation uncertainty is an auditing word as well, subjectivity, right? Management estimates, right? And how this is going to affect, COVID-19 and accounting, right? But these two questions are totally from accounting standard point of view, right? And then the next question is, again, as I mentioned to you, these are again questions relating to financial instruments. Then this question is a question that talks about internal control weaknesses. Probably I can take these questions because it's relevant to the area that I am focusing, right? And the next question, D, very clearly, I mentioned to you today, in this video, the AAA model, right? How do you address, ethical dilemma using models? So examiner has decided to test that. Those are very simple, these 5 marks. Remember, I am telling you, the biggest challenge that you face is none other than the time management. So it's very important that, while reading this reading itself take long time, but
how fast you can read very quickly to identify key points and then straight away write the answer. I will do that also maybe in my second part of the paper. The first we will finish the 50 marks question, and then this question is about this is as you see, it relates to the accounting standards. All they have linked to COVID-19 anyway. So, these are investment, machineries, valuations, right. These are valuations, right. This is application of fair valuation also. So, then what market you need to take, when you decide the fair value, but again those are accounting standard question, I skip them, and this is to decide whether functional currency. So, if you know the principle of functional currency, you can address. I skip that, and I come to this question in the next 25 marks question, and in the same 25 marks question, and that's the area that I can easily address to you, and that is integrated reporting, right. Because you see the end, prepare a memo detailing the concept of integrated reporting and how integrated report 6 capital providing a very easy question. These are 8 marks given. So, we can look at those. Now, this is what we focus in my previous discussion, and now let us see what question examiner has tested. And before reading the unseen, I recommend you to go to the question list and to be very confident that we are. Now, number one, you can see what we assume, what we forecasted, or what we predicted, has it been tested, and what new information that we have to look from the unseen paper. Now, these are the questions, right. Now, 50 marks, so we have to carefully take. So, the first question, assuming you are the CFO and you have been asked by the board to present key business risk. This is what I stress, risk is a central part of your subject, and you are supposed to identify key business risk that is relevant in making strategic decisions on future business and evaluate. See the action verb, you need to be mindful. The action verb evaluate means you are not just writing a theory answer, but you are exercising your judgment to explain the answer. We have to write 4 business risks. I am happy to say we have already identified 4 business risks. Now, those are business risks, right. Here 3 written, and I am sure not 3, we have written 4, or actually this number should change. There are 5 answers already here, and now let us see how to build this answer point by point. What are we going to write? Actually, we can expand this and write the answer here itself, that is better, right. So, you see, that is how answer is built, and that is exactly the confidence that I want, I like you to have. And so, this 7 marks should be very easy, and the beauty is that when you read the next question, that is, here there are 4 and I am sure there are more than 4, and here there are 6, that 6 risks, right. Again, action verb is evaluate 6 business risk, evaluate 6 risk of misstatement, right, with the businesses identified in above, right. With that also we have to, and other information available on the current status and accounting practices. So, here our question is RMM. So, the beauty is that some answers here can come to this, but not copy paste, but you may have to write that. So, therefore, risk of material misstatement, in this case 9 plus 7, there are 15 marks on that. And then prepare consolidation financial statement, that is outside my scope, I do not take this now. I mean, I am sure your financial reporting lecturer would have done a great job in this. And the question 4 is again this subject, right, that is 19 plus 7, 15, and 15 becomes 7, and 15 plus 7, that is 22, and this question also from this paper, 22 plus 5, 27. Now, you see, out of 50 marks, 27 marks. So, very easy, other than the consolidation question, most other question deals with governance, risk of misstatements and ethics. So, very easy question also. and hopefully your exam is also going to be very easy if you are prepared and without any pressure. Are you ready to take the exam, right? So, the next question, propose 7 internal controls, right, which can be implemented. Now, this question we did not predict, right, but now good question again, which can be implemented over preparation of consolidated financial statement. Now, that is a very important question. That is where I said to reduce the risk of fraud and errors, right. When the console account, now in short what they are asking is internal control over consolidate preparation of console accounts, and this is if you are a smart student that you know there is auditing standard called auditing standard 600, right, group financial statement, and that has an annexure, and that annexure has group wide controls. And essentially this answer, of course I can without a book we can write some answer, but also, right, because you want to write answer for 7 marks in a question like this, if you know that there is a particular page in the book that describes some of the points for the answer, why not look at it in the open book context. So, therefore, 7 you can, if you miss some points you can have, and these are specific syllabus topic anyway, like I advise you from the beginning you should mark your book. And they recommend the course of action to be taken by the CFO in NOCLA has been tested. So, there is some NOCLA issue, and NOCLA is a very easy topic that you can easily, without looking the book even you can easily say these are the 5 things to be done in a NOCLA situation, and then you get 5 marks. So, likewise now we are going to look at those 27 marks out of 50 and see how to answer. And like I said, what we need to do now is to read this unseen and then connect to our pre-seen, and then make the answers complete for those answers. And now we know that we have to answer 2 main questions, that is these 2 are very connected answers, and then when we structure the answer we have to see that Roman 1 connect to Roman 2, Roman 4 is a different answer, right, and NOCLA is a different answer. Now, we should go and find out what are the information that support our answer from the unseen, and then I will again update the sticky note, right, for the unseen. And yeah, I think even we can add another sticky note from unseen and how the information, I think yeah, even here, yes, we can yeah, that is to change the color, but that is fine. So, let us mark unseen information also. You can even update here. So, let us see that. Right. Now, question 3, increase in investment in green. So, 1st April they have done a further investment, and now there is a need to consolidate, no, right, but then those I do not go through in, I do not cover in my section, and this is all about consolidation, goodwill, all of that. So, that is about the acquisition, the investment increase, and this is acquisition straight away. And that company was acquired, Cheddar, and group policy is this, but anyway remember there is a question about group, what are the internal control over group financial statement. Now, point like this is very important, where uniform accounting policies are to be followed, that is a control. If you do not follow uniform accounting policies, the console numbers will not be right. Right. So, this is about that, and then the accounts are given for the purpose of consolidation. You get the balance sheet, the balances of these 2 companies, and the fair, yeah, then other information. So, I do not go through those because that is typically for consolidation purpose. The other information is given here. Company attempts to remain relevant, progressive, and ready to evolve and adapt to anticipate and meet change in customer preference, lifestyle, and global trend. So, this is how they face challenges. Company makes significant investment in this is R&D point that we noted. However, company is experiencing a lack of ability to attract and retain skilled workers on research and innovation who are looking for better job prospects abroad. So, that is this company like this, they need people, skilled people, especially on research area, and these type of things you can easily identify as a risk. So, from unseen that we identify more business risks, and one of that would be talent risk. If you give one word to this risk, that is talent, because without the talent you may not be able to be competitive. And another thing, a new data management system has been introduced which integrate a new system. Again, obviously whenever there is a new system come, it is a business risk. Why? The information may be wrong, missing or losses. So, this new system is going to do what? Integrate supply and custom information with the accounting software, right. This allows more efficient management of the customer database, which is used extensively for marketing purpose as well as providing more accurate financial performance. Data from the previous system was transferred to new system. Now, that is a specific risk from audit angle, that in the data transition, if there is a issue, that is going to create a problem, right. And two systems ran in parallel for 2 months while training was given to staff, right. So, if you look at this whole thing about new system, right. Now, this new system integrates supply and custom information with accounting software, that is a key word, which means in some form accounting system can be affected. So, definitely even as a business risk you can write implementation of NIV management information system. So, what due to, right, always when you explain a risk, good to say why, right, due to why this system can fail. One is inadequate training or inadequate testing, right, or inadequate controls, right. There may be data loss in transition and errors in new system. You can write anything, right, it may be access issue, all of that. So, these are typical problem, right, in new system development. For example, let us say there is a error in credit update in the credit limits. As a result, you will go and sell more, that is going to create a risk to the business. So, these are risks. And from auditing angle, again you can easily write, when you write risk of misstatement, there will be a risk, incorrect data, right. And we actually do not know which element of the accounting system may be affected, in incorrect data affecting financial statements, right, that one. Then in March 2020, government reached with restriction of economic activities which have no precedence in recent history. So, I think this sentence was there in the pre-scene as well, how COVID is going to affect. Significant reduction in demand, that is definitely a risk coming from COVID. We can add excessive amount of dairy product stocks remain unsold in the warehouse, while most are highly perishable products with short expiry date. That is a big point that we identified now under RMM. And as I said, I do not know whether it is already mentioned here, no, inventory valuation, right. More specifically, we can say why inventory valuation is an issue, because these are perishable, right. So, now itself inventory valuation, there is an inherent risk, right, where there is, I will tell you how to write, but let us put the information Let us take the information from the case study, especially this is the part that you should extract from the case study to write your answer by adding few words from your answer, right. I mean when you write your answer. So, I extracted it, let us write your words and complete to get marks. And yeah, very recently the second wave of COVID also they have connected, right. Again, I am sure when in your actual examination there will be a discussion on second wave of COVID, right. So, government has issued more restricted protocols now, and that is going to affect. So, definitely I am sure when we write COVID as a business risk here, we can explain the impact on the demand, right. So, that is the market part, right, we have written that. So, those you can explain, and that actually can create the fraud risk as well. So, definitely when you are writing the audit risk answer, risk of material misstatement, another thing with the second wave, all of that, there are a lot of pressures for the company, and that is where you can talk about fraud risk, right. So, I highlighted that as well. I added that also to our list of answers that we can write on audit risk, because my duty here is to upgrade your thinking that there is no limit, and you have to have your own analysis to come up with your own answers. Do not worry about others' answers, but be confident to write your answers, right. So, that is about the COVID, this whole thing, and their corporate customers, all of that. Further, with reference to recent R&D has come now, right, 31st March, 35 million, now that is a more specific information for us, 35 million spent. Always in the exam when there is a figure, compare 35 million divided by asset profit, what is that, right, what is it material, because your topic is RMM. When you write an answer, remember to quantify and say this is material, right. Materiality, when you read the study text, you would have understood that as a percentage of profit roughly, something is more than 5%, right, and from asset, total asset more than 1%, revenue about 0.5%. So, this materiality 35 million, right. Then this is that R&D project, and 35 million spent and capitalized, that we have to analyze. You can't simply capitalize. Now, we have already that answer put here. If you go to, I am sure R&D is here. Yeah, now we can add what can be capitalized. So, unseen has given plus information, I put plus, right. So, what is the plus information we get here, and that is this 35 million, right. So, when you write the answer, that can be taken. Yes. So, but then the question is, if you apply LKS 38, see, I will explain when we write the answer, research expenses cannot be capitalized only when it demonstrates additional criteria at the point when you prove technical feasibility, economic feasibility, intention to use, ability to use, availability of market, and reliable measurement. Now, all these criteria we can put under the word pi rate, right. When the pi rate is met, right, probable benefit, then only you can capitalize from that date the development cost, right. So, remember, research is about findings, development is about application. The key one word is application, to come up with a new product or process. So, you have to draw a line and decide. So, the answer is we have to read whether they have proven all this feasibility test, or it is still at a research space. So, then based on that only we can decide the capitalization, right. Now, what is given here? It is anticipated that the packing will be ready for use in 2 years time, at which point company will introduce. So, now we really do not know whether it is technically proven, because what is given here is yeah. So, they have not given. So, you can easily write in your answer without checking this, only we can capitalize, that is the only thing we can give, because if the case study is silent on that, right. Here is given. Now, currently, this is the sentence, right? Currently, this is very relevant for us. Testing prototypes of items that have been developed with encouraging results. It seems that this is working, but there is no confirmation. Therefore, after proper evaluation only they have to decide out of 35 million what need to be capitalized. So, this sentence is definitely relevant when you write the answer under intangible assets. So, I am going and add in this also. Now, you can easily write that answer and give your thought process. Right, now we can easily develop this answer, because now see about 60% of our answer is built now. It's a matter of writing. Another new issue seems to be highlighted here. You can take a look at damage. I think this was there, right? Yeah, we read this. This was there in pre-scene. We have identified. Let's see what new information is here. Impairment review done. The fair value fever costs to sell in have been estimated. Fair value less cost to sell have been estimated based on the sale proceeds, which could be generated from selling the damaged machinery. Okay, then the value in use generated if the damaged building is to be repaired and new machinery is put into the factory. Now, that is serious. I highlight that point, right? New machinery is put into factory. Now, see, one of the fundamental when you do a value in use cash flow is that you cannot put any new thing or incremental cash flow. Now, there is an issue here, right? So, then now we have to take this information, right. So, the value in use seems to be wrong, which could be generated if the damaged building is to be repaired and new machinery is put into the factory. So, I am adding this also to the to our answers. That is where we talk about this damage, impairment of PP. Now, here we have written that storm estimated, fair value less cost, cash flow I discussed. Now, this is coming from unseen. So, I put the plus mark and add this, right. New machinery is put in, that is not acceptable. The refurbishment, the other issue is refurbishment capitalization actually. Now, see, the refurbishment has commenced, right. And in addition to the maintenance, a large amount of capital expenditure being incurred with respect to restoration of factory. Now, another new issue that we have to handle is restoration. Now, see, while there is impairment, you are doing the restoration. One of the key question, accounting and auditing question to ask when there is a restoration, that is whether we have to, are we able to capitalize all of this, right. The answer would be you can only capitalize to the level that it meets PPE standard capitalization criteria, right, that the asset is going to generate the cash flows from those additional costs, but just because you spend and if it does not generate, you can't capitalize. So, basically we can apply the same capitalization principle in PPE standard, right, and then decide some of the expenses as operational, right, and some as capital expenditure. So, that distinction is an issue here, right. And our favorite next topic is biological assets, right, dairy cattle and measured at fair value. Like I said, it's a requirement to measure at fair value, and company has used valuation method based on the past assumption, market price of livestock of similar age, weight, their pregnancy, location, all of that, the calculation involved. Now, this actually has the answer. You can easily copy that and then write, don't copy paste and write the same thing, but then you have to, use the same information to build your answer, right. We will do that. I will tell you how to do that, right, because, So, that is also done, and then there is a maybe probably a new information, right, and that is a court case, right. So, definitely this court case, if it is a court case, it is definitely going to come as a audit risk or risk of misstatement. And now, what is the topic even without reading the case study? When there is a case, when there is a court case, our issue would be whether it is a provision or a contingent liability. And if you are a knowledgeable student, you know if something to be a provision, it has to be a present obligation, right. And you see, this is a very sharp knowledge of accounting standard, right. Present obligation. Present obligation means it should be what? It should either it should be legal, contractual or constructive. If not, it has to arise from a obligating event. If not, it should be a possible obligation. What is the definition of possible? Right, possible means the possibility depends on one or more future uncertain factors, and in that case you record a contingent liability. Now, you see, without, if you know this, very easy to handle what is given here. Now, we will see whether there is a provision or not. In December, court case is being brought. Individual who suffered illness following the consumption of expired cheese of this company. Further, in a recent meeting with the production manager, CFO has found that the company is not complying with certain regulatory. Here there is another info. Okay, this is one, right. So, this is definitely a risk. Now, the case is there or not, right, court case. Now, they are silent whether the case is going on, likely to happen or not. But here there is additional recent meeting with production manager. CFO has found that company is not complying with certain regulations enforced by Sri Lanka Standard Institute, right, regarding manufacturing yogurt, which can lead to material penalties as well as losing quality certification currently obtained by DPL. Now, very clearly you know this connects to NOCLA, because there is one question that deals with NOCLA. Yeah. So, that is the last question, non-compliance. Yeah, then we can very easily say this. For us to write part 5 of the answer, that we have to use part 5 of the answer is NOCLA, and for that we will copy paste this, and then we will accordingly structure that answer there. And the last paragraph, preparation of consolidated financial statement, right. This is the first time company has, and we know that there is a question that is Roman 3, right. So, then we can write this point, sorry, not this, yeah, 7 internal control. Now, this part 4 of the question also we have now information, and we can write it here. Part 4 of the question is about preparation of consolidation, the control required, right. This is the first time company has acquired control over other entities, and therefore engage in preparation of consolidated financial statement using the full console method. Now, we have to be mindful when they ask us risk of material misstatement of DPL associate. Now, see, ideally examiner in this paper, it should mention that you are looking risk in the consolidated financial statement. That is a very important thing they have to mention. If it is a consolidated financial statement, one of the risk here that you can write is that financial statement level, they have less experience to prepare consolidation, right, because the first time they are doing the console. The team CFO and 3 account executives who are currently undertaken their accounting qualification, this seems to be very new, right, not qualified, currently undertaking. Yeah. Further group instruction. Now, this word is very important in group auditing, right. There has to be group instruction going from the parent company to subsidiary as to how to prepare console, and there are 2 components. Components means 2 companies and of the group, right, and this has led to a delay in preparation of further group instruction were distributed to the components only, I think this may be late, right, 15th April, and this led to the delay in preparation. Now, that is not good. Ideally, you have to have frequent meeting with other component, other companies, send them instruction. In a recent board meeting, management emphasized the importance of having, now this is the topic, group wide control. Now, this is the syllabus topic they test, and this is why I say there is one particular page in the auditing standard book, auditing standard number 600, annexure on consolidation, process, risk, and there is a topic called group wide control. You can easily write answers. Reduce the risk of having errors and fraud, and then ask to propose such internal control. We can easily write this answer, right? And while writing this answer, I recommend you to use the open book, and I will explain this answer also maybe in the whiteboard. We will look at it. And now we are very confident to write the answer, and we know how to tackle this 27 questions, right? So what we are going to do during maybe next half an hour to 45 minutes, while we have identified all the points for the answer, but I need to still give you the confidence that how to write your own words, how to convert your own words to an answer and put that out. So that's the challenge. So let's do that next.